So, I have been a fan of the Final Fantasy series for a very long time now. Ever since I first played Final Fantasy VII the year it was released, I have grown to love the series and try to play every single game that comes out in North America. Now, I have strayed away a little bit from the online games. I have tried a bit at them, I played 11 a bit, but I never really got into them. I don't have anything against them either, they're just not for me. And then it was a time to buy an Xbox 360, and I knew the very first game I had to pick up, Final Fantasy XIII. Now, I should mind you, when it comes to criticism, I am never one to take things too highly. Kinda funny from a guy who wants to be a reviewer, huh? Well, what I mean is, I had a hard time believing any site who listed Modern Warfare 2 as the #1 game for both PS3 and 360 for the longest time. And the only time it would switch is when the new Gears of War would come out or something. I know I'm stretching a bit, but I mean, come on, I'm really not that far off. So, I played through FF XIII, and you know what? I really liked it. It was a great first RPG on a new system that I got, and I quite enjoyed myself on the adventure I had. Then I decided to check out some Final Fantasy XIII videos and came across these two particular ones. Now, don't get me wrong, I still think these videos are fucking hilarious, especially part 2. But a question struck me when watching these videos. Man, do people actually think that of this game? And boy howdy, was I ever surprised to hear what the internet had to say about this one. Now, opinions have never honestly bothered me. If you dislike something, that's fine, as long as you're open to hearing reasons as to why, for example, I would like something that you don't. What I don't appreciate is people who won't listen to arguments which disprove something, or at least try to disprove something that they find is wrong with the series and is only located in one game. Alright, look, let me tell you the point of this video. Basically, I'm sick of people not acknowledging the fact that Final Fantasy XIII wasn't the only game in the series to do these wrong things. And I'm making this video to perhaps shed some light on people who just use the term Final Hallway along with any other argument that doesn't really have any research into the series. This isn't a video forcing you to like the game, it's far from it. All I would like to do is to shed some light on people who just complain about something with no regards to their points. All I want to do is to make sure that people know that Final Fantasy XIII wasn't the only game in the series to do things that it's been accused of. That's all. So, without further ado, let's get started on my 3 main arguments. Alright, so originally I was going to write this whole section based around the story aspect of the game. However, the problem with that is there's no actual way for me to do that. See, anyone's opinion on story is one of their own, and 9 times out of 10, no one can change their opinions based off, you know, whatever someone says. And it's something I can completely respect, if you know the whole story to that of which is being accused of. Oh yeah, no, I'm going there. Now, I know a lot of you have just closed the video now, but to those who stayed, please just hear me out, alright? Now, my main problem with people who tell me they don't like the story of the game, they pretty much only played like 10 hours of it. Now, to me, the story of an RPG is one that should be experienced from beginning to end. That's how I always judge it. That's how I judge every game. Hell, some of them can even take up to about 80 hours. I'm looking at you, the Tales of series. You guys are long-ass games, you need to calm down. And the thing is, the story of said games have to be present the entire time. RPGs aren't like these games that you can just experience in a couple of hours, like, say, Batman Arkham Asylum. They take time to develop and expand, and Final Fantasy XIII is exactly like this. My playthrough of the game was roughly about 40 to 50 hours, and that was pretty much just playing through the story. And trust me, there's a bunch of side stuff to do later, which we'll go in a little bit more about that in a little bit later, but you get my point. Now, okay, look, how can I put this? Okay, look, imagine someone reading the very first Lord of the Rings novel, right? Then imagine that person coming up to you and saying they didn't like it. You may not agree with their position, and that's fine. However, what if they came up to you and said they didn't like it after reading only 50 pages? You would then most likely tell them to at least finish the novel before having a final decision on whether or not they like it. You see what I'm trying to get at here? Basically, you can hate a game for its gameplay or whatever, but you can't really judge a story based on a portion of the whole thing. And that's basically the point I'm trying to make here. It may not be the most perfect analogy, but hey, it's something. And for those who think this is a bit far-fetched, no. Look, I'm not even kidding, alright? Every time I try to talk to someone about this game as to why it could be a good game and they say the story is shit, they only play about 10 hours of it. Like, I can't not express that enough, okay? Like, what? Alright, so if you're still with me, then I hope you'll allow me to get to the point of no return. Cause I'm gonna start talking about the battle system. Yeah, so I forgive you if you don't want to continue listening, alright? You have my permission. Look, it's here where I would like to say each their own when it comes to battle systems. You don't have to like it, and that's fine. But many times I have spoken to people about this game, and the one thing that they always complain about is the battle system and how it's essentially playing itself. There is no need for player input aside from hitting the A button. Now, to all those who say Final Fantasy XIII is the only one guilty of this, it's not. It's not the only Final Fantasy game to do this. The most popular of the bunch, which I can use it as an example, is Final Fantasy XII. Never mind the fact that that game took a completely different turn from the norm in gameplay, which in itself is an argument really. There's one thing that this game did that for some reason just goes over people's heads. The Gambit system. Whew! You feel that? It's like every Final Fantasy XII fan getting ready to write hateful comments towards me. Now, me and Final Fantasy XII don't get along too well. I'm not saying it's a bad game, I just don't like it as much as others do. I only mention this because every time I bring this up in an argument, people always use the fact that I don't like the game as a, well, you don't like the game, so of course you would say that. And then I get annoyed. But I digress. Yes, Final Fantasy XII uses something called the Gambit system. Okay, see, now online it describes Gambits as manually entered commands that take precedence and their immediate execution will interrupt Gambit programming. If that made sense to you, I'm surprised, but essentially, you give them an automated command for them to perform, and they will do it. And they'll either take, whatever one comes first, either attacking an enemy or healing an ally. So why am I mentioning this, you ask? Well, in short, this system allows the game to almost literally play itself. Getting the right gambits and setting them up right, which really can be done at almost any point in the game, makes it so you don't have to do anything in battle aside from using an item or an ability that needs to be used. Hey, wait, doesn't that sound familiar? Yeah, this is the exact same thing that people argue with me about Final Fantasy XIII, and yet when I bring up this argument, all I get is shrugged by people, honestly. Saying it's not the same thing, what? With the Gambit system, all you literally have to do is walk. That's it. Everything else can be done for you. Which, by the way, if you watch a lot of FF XII gameplay, Gambits are used a lot. Very rarely will you see someone go hard mode and not use them. And hey, you know what? I use the Gambit system as well, except on the character that I'm using. Maintaining a whole party in this game is a headache only my 12-year-old self had to deal with. Now, some have said, well, you don't need to use the Gambit system. Now, like I said, while that is a headache, yes, you can do that. But, hey, you could also not use the auto battle system in Final Fantasy XIII. Yeah, you don't need to use the auto battle system in the game. It's a choice. To which some people replied, well, it's too hard to select your own abilities, and it's a really time-wasting to do so. Bro, really? This is by far the best thing anyone has ever told me when arguing this. And another thing about this whole thing that you need to press the A button to win, right, so that means no switching paradigms during battles, mainly boss fights, no using items and summons to aid you in battle, just hitting the A button, you'll be fine. Look, this could be a whole nother thing on its own, but trust me, not switching paradigms during battle or at all would be ludicrous and make fights almost near impossible. Now, I'm sure some of you out there have done it, and in fact, I wouldn't be surprised, we're a crazy bunch of gamers nowadays. All I'm saying is, casually, this would almost lead to death. So this whole just press A thing, yeah, it don't hold up, no. Alright, well, I feel like this video is going on longer than I expected, so let's head to my final point, alright? Oh boy, you people are gonna hate me. Alright, so like I mentioned before, anyone who's played Final Fantasy XIII or knows about this game, I'm pretty sure knows about this video. Now, I want to start off by saying again, I love this video. I love both of them. Hell, I really love JonTron. He's one of my inspirations for starting this channel. However, the only thing I don't like about this video is that this led to people using this as an argument. Every time I try to bring up Final Fantasy XIII in conversation, I always get, oh, do you mean hallway simulator? Cause you know, it's only a straight path to the end. It's so bad, how dare Square do that to the franchise? To which I just reply with Final Fantasy X. Yep, Final Fantasy X did the exact same thing. Until you get an airship at the end of the game, it is one straight path from beginning to end. You really have no choice in where you want to go. Somehow this gets overlooked every time the term hallway simulator gets thrown around the Final Fantasy community. And the counter argument I always get is, yeah, well, at least there's stuff to do in the end of FF X. Bro, have you seen how much shit there is to do at the end of 13? There is so much to explore on Cocoon that it could literally take hours. Never mind all the quests on that place to begin with. And if you really think about it, almost every main Final Fantasy game is like this. Sure, they may not go on a straightforward path, but really you can only advance the story by doing plot-crucial elements. A straight path from beginning to end. Sure, there are places around you that you could visit, but most of the time there's nothing going on there until you reach a point in the story where there is. But we forget about that, and why? Because we get the illusion of an open world. Now look, I'm not bashing this or any of the older games. I'm not saying all of them do this. I mean, for God's sakes, Final Fantasy IX just got a new quest discovered in Liblan that took over 15 years after the game's initial release to find. But it bothers me that these points just don't get brought up, or if they do get brought up, they just get disregarded. Look, I think I need to say this again in case you guys forgot. This video is not to force you to like Final Fantasy XIII. It's far from it. All I wanted to do was shine some light on people who think Final Fantasy XIII is the only one that's committed these crimes. It's not. I just feel that sometimes the Final Fantasy community gets so blinded by nostalgia or blinded by having a personal love with a game that sometimes they just forget that the game they love did the exact same thing as the one they hate. Hopefully this video has showed you that Final Fantasy XIII wasn't the only game to do these things, and for those of you who try to defend this game and just keep getting shut down by people, hopefully, you have some new ammo now and you can use this video as an example. Now, should this video get attention, I want to say this. Everyone should respect others' favorite Final Fantasy game. Let's be honest. There's no perfect answer to this question. It's all about how you find the game. I can talk for hours as to why I love Final Fantasy IX or Final Fantasy VI, but you may not agree, and that's completely fine. Just don't be blinded by perfectly valid points because of how much you love a game. Who am I fucking kidding? This is the internet and that shit ain't happening. Anyway guys, my name is Minimatt, and yeah, that's all the time I have for today. Be sure to subscribe if you like what you saw. Or didn't, you know, it could be an ironic sub, I'll accept those. And if you want to follow me on the social medias, I'm on Facebook and Twitter. Though I'm mainly on Twitter. I'm on Twitter more. And hey, if you like how my character looks, I have my friend over at the Pitsy Knife for creating it. Be sure to check out his page for some more awesome art. I know he'll enjoy it, and I will as well. And hey, if you really like the music that plays in the beginning and end of this video, go check out the very talented artist Johnny Atma. He graciously let me use his Phoenix Wright cover of Cornered, and it is so damn fucking metal. I love it. Thank you, Johnny Atma, so much for letting me use it. Glad you let me use it. Go check out his YouTube. He is freaking awesome. He needs more subs than he deserves. And as always, guys, my name's Minimatt, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. I've got to go work on KH month. It's gonna kill me. Hope you guys like it. See ya.